Good morning. This is Sara Sach with Posh Pooch Designs, and this is Maximo and Rosie, and they are modeling our new Turtleneck Dog Bandana. This is a great fall bandana to help keep their necks warm. What you're going to need to make your dog or even cat a turtleneck bandana from my pattern is you're going to need some worsted weight number 4 yarn. This is Vanna's Choice, and this one is a Red Heart Super Saver. So you can use any worsted weight number 4 yarn. And for today's demonstration, I'm going to use this one. It's just a beige with a black and brown fleck running through it, and I think it's going to work great. Now, you're only going to need a few ounces, and that, of course, depends on the size you make. And I'll explain that part to you in just a minute. You are going to be stitching today with our eye hook, and the eye hook is a 5.50 millimeter hook. We're also going to need one stitch marker, and the stitch marker is used to mark this center row right here because we're going to have a point, and it's just going to help you. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a safety pin or a paper clip or even just another piece of yarn that's a different color so that you can know where that corner is or that point as we work down the front. You're also going to need a needle with an eye that you can get your yarn through for weaving in those ends, and of course a pair of scissors. The last thing that you're going to need is a tape measure, and you'll need that tape measure because you're going to need to measure your dog's neck. Rosie's neck is about 10 inches. And the way the pattern works is it's 3 chains per inch plus an extra inch for comfort. So what we'll do is Rosie's neck is 10 inches. We'll chain 3 chains per inch, which will be 30 chains. And then we'll add 3 more chains for an extra inch. And that's just for comfort, like I said, because this pattern doesn't have you add any buttons or Velcro or anything on the back. You just gently slide it right over your dog's head, and this will help keep them a little bit warmer through those cool mornings or maybe late night walks, or if you're someone who likes to go up into the woods or take hikes, it's a good idea to have that around their neck, and you can make it as long as you want and as wide as you want for any size dog. There are 2 ways that you can start this bandana. We're going to be starting up here on the neck, and you can either stitch the amount of chains that you need and then stitch 1 double crochet in each chain, or you can do a foundation double crochet. I'm going to show you how to do that. So if we're going to need 33 chains, you'll chain those 33 chains, you'll join those in a circle, and then you'll stitch 1 double crochet in each chain around. But for the foundation double crochet, we're going to begin with a slip knot. We're going to chain 4. We're going to wrap our yarn around, and we're going to go in this 4th chain from the hook. Put your hook through and pull up a loop. Yarn over and only go through that first loop. We've made a chain. Now we're going to yarn over and complete our double crochet, going like we normally do through a double crochet. And the first 3 chains counted as our first foundation double crochet, and then here's our second one. Now the reason you might want to start with the foundation double crochet with something that's going to go around your neck or your pet's neck is it's going to be a lot stretchier. Alright, so let's yarn over, and we're going to go through this chain right here that we made first. Pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your chain, 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and only go through that first loop. Then you'll yarn over and go through the next 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. Now I have 3. So I need to continue doing this until I have 33 foundation double crochets. If you've never done a foundation double crochet, this is a great project to work on to practice that. Yarn over, go in that bottom chain of the previous stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go just through the first loop. That's our chain that we made. Now we yarn over, go through the next two, yarn over, and go through the next two, which finishes our double crochet. And so I'm going to continue to make foundation double crochet stitches till I have 33 stitches. So you can see that I have stitched my 33 foundation double crochets. Now, if you decided to chain 33, join in a circle, and then one double crochet in each double crochet, you've already got yours joined together. Now, we're going to join ours together because we did the foundation double crochet. And we're going to join right in the top of that chain 3 at the beginning. Put our hook through, pull that loop through, and then pull that loop through the loop that's already on our hook. Now, if you turn it back around, you'll notice there's a gap here. Don't worry about that right now. We'll come back and fix that a little later. And this will happen only if you did the foundation double crochet. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 2. Flip that out. For row 2, we're going to be doing a half double crochet in one stitch and then a front post double crochet in the next. Now, when you look at your stitch, we normally stitch in these tops of the braids of the chains. I call them braids, they're the chains. So what we're going to be doing is the side of the stitch is called the post. And instead of going and stitching in the tops, we're going to stitch around the post. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to stick our hook through that post, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then we'll just finish it like a regular double crochet. The next stitch will be a half double crochet. So we'll yarn over, we'll go in the top of that stitch like we normally do, pull up our loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 of those loops. And so what we're going to be doing is alternating front post double crochet and a half double crochet stitch. So let's yarn over, we'll go in the next post stitch of the next double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. Now we'll yarn over and we're going to go in the top of the next stitch and stitch a half double crochet. Now I'm stitching just a little bit loose so that I can show you the stitches and where they need to go. And you'll start to see that it has a ridge. And that's how we get the ridge right here. These are our front posts, and in between are our half double crochets. So we'll continue this all the way around. So I'm going to stitch a half double crochet in the next stitch, going through the top, and now I'm going to stitch a front post going through the post. And remember, your front post is a double crochet, and then we're stitching a half double crochet in between. There we go. So yarn over, go around the post of the next double crochet, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, That's our front post double crochet. And now we're going to half double crochet in the top of the next stitch. We're going to do this all the way around. And you can see those ridges are starting to form to give it that turtleneck look. Alright, so I'm going to continue to work my front post double crochet and my half double crochet, alternating stitches all the way around for row 2. I stitched my row all the way around, as you can see, alternating my front post with my half double crochet. And because we're using an odd number like 33, and you will because 3 chains or 3 stitches equal 1 inch, you're going to have an extra double crochet down here. Don't worry about that one. End on your front post double crochet and join to the top of that chain 2 with a slip stitch that you started with. So we'll stick our hook through, we'll pull that loop through, and that loop will pull through the loop that's on our hook. And again, don't worry about this little gap. We'll come back with our needle and close that up when we're finished. Alright, so let's chain 2. And this next row is going to be super duper easy, because we're going to stitch a half double crochet in the half double crochets and a front post double crochet in the front post double crochets. So we're basically repeating what we did for the previous row. So let's yarn over. Let's go around that front post and stitch a front post, double crochet. Then we'll stitch a half double crochet in the top of the half double crochet. And this helps continue with this ridgy pattern that we have going that makes it look like a nice ridged up turtleneck. Makes it nice and stretchy. Go around the front post and stitch a front post double crochet. Then we stitch a half double crochet in the top of the half double crochet. My yarn's giving me a little trouble today. It doesn't want to come out nice and smooth. Alright, so I'm stitching a half double crochet in my half double crochets and front post, almost said foundation, front post double crochets in our front post double crochets, alternating half double crochet and front post front post double crochet. If you stitch a half double crochet, it will be too short. There we go. So I'm going to show you those ridges. Here's our front posts with our half double crochets in between. And we'll continue this all the way around for this row. Front post double crochet, half double crochet in the top of the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next front post double crochet, and half double crochet in the next stitch. This is another great technique to practice and to learn, because there's a lot of things that you can do learning using the front post double crochet. It makes lots of nice texture. And once you learn to do the front post and back post, which we're not going to be using the back post, then you can learn how to do crochet cables. Alright, so let me just let you see how that's looking. All my front posts and my half double crochets in between. And I'm going to continue this on around for this row. And you can see once you've established where those front posts are supposed to be, it just goes really super duper fast. Alrighty, we're almost done with this row. Double crochet front post and half double crochet in the next. There we go. Front post double crochet, half double crochet in the next, and then we're going to end with our front post double crochet, and then we're going to join again to the top of that chain 2 with a slip stitch. I always snug that down good, and then we'll chain 2. And you can see the collar's coming out nicely. Now, the width of this collar is up to you. For Maximo and Rosie's, I did a total of 5 rows. Now, if your dog is, say, a greyhound that has a really long neck, you might want to make it longer. If your dog's like maybe a bulldog and you've made it bigger, you may not want it as long if he has a short neck. So that's something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. Now, for the pattern that we're doing today, I'm going to do a few more rows. I've got 2 done here, and I'm going to do 3 more rows so that I'll have a total of 5 rows of the front post, half double crochet, alternating for the nice turtleneck of our bandana. So I'm going to go ahead and get busy making 3 more rows. I finished the 5 rows of the front post double crochet with the half double crochet in between. And something that you'll notice is that your stripes might be on a little bit of a slant. And it's okay. I think it looks great. Mine do that too. It's just the way that it does it. It doesn't affect anything. It's just cute. Now we're going to start the bottom portion of the bandana, this part right here. All right, and we're going to need that stitch marker to mark that corner. So what we're going to do is after we've joined our last row, we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the first 8 stitches. Now, if you adjusted bigger or smaller, you may want to adjust that count, because if you made it bigger, you're going to need to add more double crochets, and if you made it smaller, you're going to have less. For the pattern, I'm going to stitch 7 double crochets because the first chain 3 there counted as my first double crochet. So I'm going to stitch 8 double crochets. We're not doing any front post or back post or anything, just a total of 8 double crochets, counting that chain 3 as our first double crochet. Yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2. Just a regular O double crochet. So here's my chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did one too many. Alright, so I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double crochets. Now, in the next stitch, I'm going to begin to form my point. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to go in the next stitch and stitch a double crochet. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to stitch a double crochet right here in this same stitch. And that's my first corner. Now, I don't want to lose that corner as I'm going along, so I'm going to mark that with one of my stitch markers. Then I'll know when I'm moving back and forth that that's my corner. And as I stitch a corner or a point, I will move that along. So now I have stitched that one, and I'm going to stitch 8 more double crochets. 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see it from the front side. Our chain 3 counted as our first double crochet, and then I double crocheted 7 more for a total of 8. Then in the next stitch we did a double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet, and then we stitched 8 more double crochets. This is the center of our bandana. So what you need to decide is if you made it bigger, do you need more double crochets? And if you made it smaller, you may need less. Because from here out, we're going to be adding an extra double crochet on each side of our rows. All right, so my hook in there. We're going to flip our work. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we won't double crochet in that first one. So we'll yarn over and we'll place a double crochet in each double crochet till we reach that corner. And instead of having 8, we'll have 9, because we're going to be crocheting in that double crochet of our point. Okay, here's the corner. I'm going to double crochet in the top of that double crochet. I'm going to take my stitch marker out because I'm going to need to move it. And in this chain 2 space, I'm going to stitch a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. Now you may not have to mark your corners, but I do it just because I don't want to forget where my corner is as I'm moving along. Sometimes I don't even buckle my little stitch marker. I just sort of leave it. Alright, so now we're going to put a double crochet right in that first double crochet, and then we'll double crochet back down. My stitch marker just popped out. Like I said, you may not need it. You can clearly see where the corner is. It's just a way to make sure that I don't miss that corner. Some more yarn out here. Alrighty. Make sure you place a double crochet in the top of that chain 3 so that you have enough double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now remember, you'll have one here and one here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you'll need to place one right in the top of that chain 3 so that you'll have the right amount. Because with counting the 2 for the center, you'll have 10 on each side. Like here we had 8 and then the center 2 and then 8. So here we have 9 and then the center 2 and then 9. And that's the way the pattern will work. Will increase by the 1 and the 1 here on each row. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn our work again. You can see that point forming. And like I said, if you don't need the stitch marker, don't put it in there. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so don't double crochet in that first one. We'll go to the second one. We'll stitch to the corner, stitching double crochets. There we go. Make sure we stitch in that last double crochet. Then we go right in that chain 2 space, yarn over and stitch a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet in that chain 2 space. And then we go right in that next double crochet. I'm having trouble with my yarn today. And stitch 1 double crochet in each double crochet across. And like I said, you will gain 2 double crochets, 1 on each side, each row. And when you get to the end of this row, make sure you place 1 in the top of that chain 3, because it counted as your first double crochet of that previous row. There we go. And chain 3. Alright, I'll turn it around so you can see it again. And this is the way it's beginning to look. You will continue doing this for this pattern for 3 more rows. Now, if you want it longer, because maybe you made it bigger and you want it longer for a bigger dog, you certainly can. You do as many rows as you want, just continuing the same pattern. Double crochet across, double crochet chain 2, double crochet in the chain 2 space, and then double crochet back across the other side. Super duper easy, like I said, and you can make it as long as you want or as short as you want. It's up to you and your dog. Now, before we finish up, I want to show you how to close this little gap that happens when we do the foundation double crochet. We're going to need a needle. We're going to take that tail that we started with and thread that in our needle. And here's the little gap. And what I do is I go right in the bottom and just pull it across like that, and I just make a couple of loops so it's going to stay put, and then I just weave it in underneath. So we'll go inside here, and always remember when you're weaving things in to go in the fibers and through the stitches of what you're working on and not the holes. And give that a good tug and clip that off. And it's that simple to close that up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch my next 3 rows on here, and then I'll show you how to finish up your bandana. So I stitched 6 rows. You can see it increased by 1 on each row, makes this nice little angled bandana. Go ahead and take out my stitch marker. Like I said, you may need it, you may not. I like using them sometimes. So I'm finished. It's ready to go, and so what I'm going to do is cut my yarn. I'm going to tie it off, and of course this is the underside, so I'm going to go ahead and weave in my end, thread the needle with the yarn, and just go right up in the stitches. Now remember, like I said, go in the stitches, not the holes, and I usually go one way, and I turn and come back another way. And I usually try to do that 3 times. Sometimes I don't have a long enough yarn. Give a little bit of a pull and snip that off. Alright, this is the back of our bandana. This is the front. And you know, you can add any kind of little applique that you want, or button, or anything that you want to it. It's just a basic little turtleneck bandana. It'll slide right on over their existing collar and keep their little neck warm. So this is my turtleneck bandana for pooches or kitties of any size. And you can find this free crochet pattern on my blog, and I'll put that blog link in the notes underneath the video.